Hey y'all, thanks for joining me. Going to be having an interesting topic tonight. Is Taoism a mystical bridge to Orthodox Christianity? If you're one that's interested in other countries and people's traditions and religion and how they are similar to ours, you'll love this. And I have an interest, so this is why I'm doing this video. We'll explore this by examining what the Tao is and how it aligns with the Orthodox teachings of the Logos and God's energies. First, I found a beautiful essay on these beautiful topics. I will share the link in the description below. What is the Tao? I'll read the definition from the essay. The Tao is the ultimate source of all things, an invisible yet omnipresent force that governs the universe. It is both the origin and the essence of life, and the goal of Taoist practice is to align oneself with this mysterious force. What exactly are the Logos and God's energies? The essence/energy distinction. This is from St. Gregory Palamas. So here's the distinction. While we cannot know God in his essence, God in himself, we can know him in his energies, the work of God's grace in our lives, and who God is in relation to the creation of mankind. Both essence and energies are fully God. Therefore, when interacting with God's energies, we interact with the uncreated God himself, while his essence still remains unknowable and unreachable. Here's an example. So imagine that God is the sun. We all experience the power and energy of the sun every day. We experience its warmth and light, both of which are energies through the rays that shine down on us. These rays don't give us a mere impression of what the sun is. They are not a substitute for the sun, nor do they merely illustrate what the sun is like. They are a real participation in the very energies of the sun itself. In other words, by our contact with the sun's rays, real changes occur in our human chemistry. At the same time, however, we cannot participate in or experience the essence of the sun. If we tried to approach the essence of the sun, it would overwhelm and annihilate us. So the Logos is the eternally begotten Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, which is true God, uncreated, and one being, homoousios with the Father. As the divine word and wisdom, the Logos is the agent of creation, through whom all things were made, and who became incarnate as Jesus Christ to redeem humanity. So I'd like to dive into three important practices in the Chinese culture. It's going to be the Wei Wu Wei, Water Virtue, and Filial Piety. This Wei Wu Wei, it's a family of natural practices. Basically, it's a not doing or an inaction. It's learning to stop imposing your mind upon the world. So, we all have desires for things to be a certain way. We have biases about how to respond to the world around us. These desires and preferences are a sending out of ourselves into the world, a kind of mental overlay we place on top of reality. Instead of dealing with the world as it is, we deal with the world as we have formed it in our minds. Is the world of Wei bad? Well, here are three negative consequences. The map comes from the social mind. Our expectations and reactions are conditioned, not natural. Our maps can't create new paths. If your current way of seeing brought you dissatisfaction, you can't solve it by using the same pattern. It breaks harmony with the Tao. Imposing your mind interrupts natural flow, blocking the mysterious power of the Tao. Okay? So here is the advantages of the Wu Wei, the not doing or inaction. It creates an intensely receptive state that clarifies perception and moves you toward harmony with the Tao. So here's the benefits: seeing things as they are, reduced internal conflict, spontaneous, effective response. And aligning with the Te, or Ta, I don't know how to say that, the power of the Tao. Now, not all life challenges will resolve through non-doing alone. You have the Shur, which means recognizing what to act, when to act, and when to refrain. The Wu Wei is not about avoiding action forever, but about responding appropriately to circumstances without forcing your will. Now let's go to the water virtue. I love this one, personally. Water symbolizes the highest virtue because it perfectly embodies humility by flowing to the lowest, most despised places without contention. It sustains all life, adapts to any shape, and despite its soft, yielding nature, overcomes hard obstacles over time. This philosophy emphasizes letting go of ego, serving others, and yielding to gain true, lasting strength. Okay, now, the last thing I need to do is filial piety. So basically what it is obedience to your elders, respecting and revering your elders and your parents, and it's a community thing. Hierarchy matters. So we're going to go through the Wei Wu Wei so that we can compare it to Orthodoxy. We're going to start with this beginning here, that the not doing, the inaction. Instead of dealing with the world as it is, we deal with the world as we have formed in our minds. So it's allowing all these thoughts in our mind to cloud our ability to see God. Okay, it's like Hesychasm. Hesychasm, the quietness, the stillness, this is where you hear God's voice. God is in the stillness. God is in that moment of stillness. So Hesychasm is somewhat like this, where you get to the stillness, you hear God, and so you have that time with God without any barriers. Imposing your mind interrupts natural flow, blocking the mysterious power of the Tao. Again, it's about imposing your mind, meaning imposing your will. You can't, and you're not surrendering to God's will. This happens. You can't connect to God. And they're saying the same thing here with the Tao, which I thought was really cool. Now, when you do that inaction that Wei Wu was talking about, you see things as they are because you're looking at it in a clear sense, because your ego is not there. Your will is down, and you're allowing God to guide you. I see that, what that would mean from the Orthodox perspective. Same thing, reduced internal conflict. Yeah, once you're in that connection, your thoughts and all that are flying in your mind, if your mind is in your heart and you're like doing the Jesus prayer, you become connected to God. And all of those other thoughts are gone. And then you're aligning with the Te, the power of the Tao. Okay, that could be aligning with God's energies. That Te, the power of the Tao, that could be the energies. So that's like the energies of God. Now this part where they say that they cannot occupy both doing and not doing simultaneously. So what here, as I showed you, Shur means recognizing when to act and when to refrain. So Shur, for us in Orthodox, would be our discernment. How we should respond to certain things, if we are asking God's help and, to give us the right words, and we are praying about this. We use discernment on how to act or not act on certain circumstances. So the Wu Wei is not about avoiding action forever, but about responding appropriately to circumstances without forcing your will. Again, from the Orthodox perspective, that would be letting go of your own will and allowing God's will to work in your life, and that you are working synergetically with Him through your cooperation with His energies, His grace. So there is that similarity there. I thought this was interesting. By observing the shifting conditions around you, you learn to act when the moment is ripe and rest when the moment calls for stillness. We hear that all the time with our saints. Orthodox saints always talk about, don't talk unless it's something, it's not just idle talk. It has to be an important thing. You speak on that and then, keep quiet. You're not supposed to be talking all the time. So you act when the moment is right. I want to go into the water one with you again, because humility is like the top virtue, according to many saints. If you have humility, the devil's forces are gone. They can't deal with that. So humility is very important in the Chinese culture. This water is the metaphor for this, is beautiful. I absolutely love this. So, as we said, water naturally seeks the lowest ground. Marry a humble person who does not seek visibility or high status, unlike the arrogant. Yeah. Water nurtures all of its things without striving, competing, or seeking recognition, which is considered the highest form of goodness. Yeah. They're saying it's the highest form of goodness. Humility is, which is the top root, one of the top virtues, if not the top virtue, in Orthodox Christianity as well. So this is really important. So by remaining humble, water fosters growth and helps others overcome challenges without drawing attention to its own actions. This is just beautiful. Water shapes itself to its surroundings, surviving by adapting, and can erode solid rock through persistence rather than brute force. Again, that's humility kills the demons. Okay? For the saints, that's what they say. So a lot of wonderful similarities. It says here, chapters 8 and 9 of the Tao Te Ching, living water means adopting a mindset of humility, which leads to harmony, peace, and increased personal effectiveness. So, again, humility is important. It does bring harmony and peace. The other thing was the filial piety, as I had already told you, that they have a real reverence for their parents, their elders. They have a responsibility to take care of their elders when they're older, and also now it's more of a reciprocal way of doing this, but traditionally and historically it's been this way. It's all about the collective good. It benefits the family, the community, and the country. So it's not about the self, you'll see. It's about what is the best for everyone. So there's already a letting go of your own selfish needs, your ego, and being taught to be more selfless. And this is really important because the country we live in right now is all about greed and selfishness and arrogance. I'm not saying that's how it always has been. I'm saying, though, it's just in my lifetime it's grown worse and worse and worse and worse. So this stuff is very important. I went over the way that the Chinese revere their ancestors, and we too, as Orthodox, remember our loved ones, our ancestors. We pray for them. We make the koliva, and there's the service, the memorial service at church for it. It's a beautiful thing, and we're supposed to do this, pray for others that have departed, for our family and, friends, all that, until Christ's second coming. Because nothing is totally etched in stone until he returns and the judgment happens. I think The Chinese practices, even Lao Tzu. I don't know if you ever read Christ the Eternal Tao. I've read a quarter of it. I haven't gotten done because I have too many books I'm trying to read, but I will get back to it. He talked all about the Tao, the Wei. I thought it was really cool, really interesting how a religion that was around, Lao Tzu, I think is how you say his name, was around 500 years before Christ came to earth, incarnated as a baby. So it's almost like a prelude to him. We have seen meaningful parallels in the spiritual life between the Tao and the Logos / God's energies, between the Wu Wei / water and kenosis and synergy in their respective methods and practices. When we look at the Taoist principle of shui, we are given a practical mirror. It displays for us that true spiritual maturity does not come from the isolated pursuit of the divine, but in the humble collective obedience that begins in the family and extends outward. In this way, the Taoist cultural model offers a crucial and necessary structural lesson for the Orthodox Christian and all Christians in the modern individualistic world. There are kernels of truth in other religions, some more than others, as we've seen here. We are made in God's image, and His laws are written in our hearts. Humans were made to worship the Creator. Have you found this topic interesting? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.